Okay, we are. What are we doing? What the hell is this? This is the Master of Unlocking podcast for April, even though it's about the end of April.
Yeah.
We meant to do this last week, and just things happened. And was it last week or was it
2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and life gets in the way. But anyway, I'm Logan. To my left,
I'm Caleb.
Caleb. Across from me,
Hi, I'm Jason.
Jason's staring at a sleeve of.
It's a GameFly sleeve for Yakuza 0. I was reading the brief synopsis of this, which I'm assuming is just pulled from box art.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know it took place in 1988. So
Yeah, it's a
there you
pretty
go.
cool time period.
Okay.
So is it like Resident Evil 0? It like all takes place like before the other Yakuzas?
Yep. And actually, in August, I'm excited because they're doing there's a game called Yakuza Kiwami, and that's a remake of the first Yakuza. So we get 0 and 1 remake in the same year, which is pretty cool.
Because like the original Yakuza came out, like was it a PS2 game?
Yeah, PS2.
Wow, that would have been a long time ago.
Probably in the 2004.
Yeah.
That's a guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was not. It wasn't the middle of the PS2 life cycle. It was closer to the end.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I that was a game that has escaped me for years. Not intentionally. I just for whatever reason
Yeah,
just
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've never played any other Yakuzas.
I haven't, no, but I tried to play, was it 3 or 4? I tried to play one of them, and I was so lost in the story. So, starting from the beginning is actually pretty enticing.
Gotcha.
It's good.
Yeah.
People seem to like it. The reception has been good. Did it come out at the same time? Both stateside and in Japan?
I think it's been out in Japan for a while. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I assumed that it was there before.
I think they usually do.
I wasn't sure.
And now you have my PS2 copy of Persona 3, which
Speaking
I
of
just bought.
PS2, did you just acquire this?
Yeah, it was. I saw
It's
it
in
for
good
$20
shape.
on eBay, so I was like,
It's
whatever.
in
buying it.
it's in really good shape.
The only thing on the inside, one of the clips is broken, but whatever.
In the
Who
jewel
cares?
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
here.
right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not a big deal. It's just
Whatever.
I have
yeah.
a copy of this at home too.
Speaking of Persona,
Yeah, there's a better Persona.
there's a Persona 5 out right now. All three of us are playing it. We're all at I don't know exactly where everybody's at. I'm 11 hours in.
I'm 45 hours in.
Of course, you're 45 hours in. Jason, where are you?
I'm about, I would say, probably like 8 or 9.
8 or 9 hours
Oh,
in.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you gotten your calling card yet?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Uh-uh.
you'd know. So,
No.
okay. So I've finished my first castle.
Okay.
Palace.
Palace.
Castle.
Dungeon. But they are called palaces
Yeah,
in this game.
Palaces. Okay, so I finished my first palace, and I gotta tell you, I've never played a Persona game in my life. This is fucking amazing.
You like it?
I
Okay.
love it. I
so
can't
glad.
believe how much I love this game. I
know.
was like, okay, I'm gonna go into this. The only Atlas game I ever played was Catherine.
Okay.
And that gave me like the weirdest dreams of moving blocks around that I've never thought. So I didn't even know what to expect coming into this. But so far, the story has really hooked me. This Kamoshida guy is an absolute asshole.
He's the
and
worst,
the
isn't
perfect
he?
person to start this whole like just dick person that you gotta take away his essence or whatever it is that we're officially taking away from him.
So that's I don't know whether, and I'm not sure how the rest of the game goes, Caleb, and you can, I don't really care how you talk about it, me personally, but, so you have Kamoshida, who's a dick,
Yeah.
and you're right, you absolutely hate him, like this guy, he's going down,
Yeah.
he's the worst, he's the worst, and he's going down.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's a pretty common thing to have a high school teacher that you're like, is this dude scummy? Like, is this dude really scummy? I don't know if you guys had that or not.
Yeah,
but
I think I was lucky enough not to have that.
I think I'm even just looking at one of your people, and they had a little bit of scummy traits in them.
Like a member of your party?
A member of your high school teaching world, without naming names.
Oh, I'm not
But
connecting.
my
A
point
coach
is,
that maybe you had that kind of maybe have an affinity for younger girls.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing to the level of Kamoshida.
Not like Kamoshida. Kamoshida is like...
Right, but the point I'm trying
he's
to
a monster.
make here
Kamoshida is a bad guy.
is that I'm just trying to say that I think it's very relatable that they made an enemy in a game like this. You know, a lot of times in games you have, like, the main antagonist is, like, you know, some warlord or something like that. And it's like, well, you know, whatever. I understand he's evil and bad. But this is, like, very, like, relatable. Like, I know a person like this. Even if it's not someone from a school or whatever. You're like...
Or you've heard a story about someone like this, anecdotal. Or there's plenty of stories in the news. It seems like always the teacher gets caught, you know, and that has the inappropriate relationship with a minor. But it's not just that with Kamoshida too. It hits on several different levels. Like he's mentally abusive. Right. Yeah, he's also physically abusive, and so I love how the game plays coy with that in the real world. And then it spells it out for you in even more dramatic or operatic terms in the dungeons. Because, like, he's not actually putting them in guillotines and slapping them around. But, like, that is a good visual representation of the abuse he gives them in the real world abuse.
I love the treadmill that he put the people on with the spikes at the end of it. Yeah. That was really good. Was like,
and he's not doing that in the real world. Like that's what the dungeon looks like. Mm-hmm. But I love the way that they kind of explain his abuses via the dungeon. You don't actually see, maybe you do, but I don't think you actually see it in the real world.
You see the one where they had the volleyball game and he spiked it in that kid's face.
That's a cutscene, right?
Yeah, it's a cutscene.
Yeah.
And
it's close.
That's about the closest that you ever got a glimpse of it.
The real world is more about the repercussions of his actions, right? Like you'll talk to this really scarred up kid, or I can't remember her name. Is it Lady On? On is the pronunciation. Her friend, and I can't remember.
Shiho.
She throws herself off of the roof.
Right.
That's fairly early on in the game.
I mean, he raped her though.
Yeah. So that's like you don't see the rape. You see the girl who's a hot mess and throws herself off of this. So he's the perfect foil to start with.
Yeah. But he raped her because On wouldn't sleep with him. That was the deal. Was
really?
That they were in the diner and he got a call. On got a call from Kamoshida saying that, hey, come over now, and she said no, and he said, okay, well, this is on you. Shiho's losing her starting spot, and then he called Shiho into his office, and then the next morning, that's when that happened.
Okay,
she jumped off the building.
I didn't quite put that together.
They do a pretty good job of keeping it pretty ambiguous too. Like you're saying rape, but they do keep it a lot. Tone it down from that. They
don't say rape. Right.
Yeah. You could infer that, but it's not. If you're a younger person, you might think, oh well, she threw herself off the roof because she lost her starting position on the team. You know, like it never explicitly says.
Yeah,
it gives you enough innuendo to know that something sexual happened and it was inappropriate and obviously it was not wanted.
That goes back to the design of the dungeons too. It's because like it's all this innuendo and the way that Queen On, right? Is that her name in the dungeon?
I think she's still just Lady. She's Lady On in the dungeon because she's just on Takamaki.
She's Panther in the dungeon.
Yeah. Well, not the actual character. Like Kamoshida's Queen.
Oh, I see.
On in the purple bikini.
Not brainwashed On in the dungeon. Okay. I think isn't it Queen?
Maybe it is.
I think they go back and forth because I think I heard him refer to her as the princess, and I don't know. They refer to her
she's
multiple ways.
Submissive and she's wearing a bikini.
Well, so you're like, it's just when you say queen, I think of a different character in the game.
Really?
That's later.
That's later on.
Yeah, I think they refer to her as Lady and the Princess more, but it's whichever one you want. But yeah, the music is all really good. I was surprised that you said that it kind of stays the same throughout the whole game.
It is really good music, but I wish there was a little more variety. Sometimes it does get a little old, but it's really good music. So especially
for 100 hours, it's like, oh boy, and the thing is, like for where I just finished, I mean, I'm 11 hours in, like that's just a game. Like when you think about it, like there's still 10 more of these basically for me to do. And I'm very happily surprised with how well I'm enjoying this. And I've heard that kind of some of the rest of them may not be as good as the Kamoshida storyline, but
Kamoshida, like I said before, does a really good job of keeping the antagonist grounded, and it does get a little like bigger and bigger in scope as you go on. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not gonna say what they are or anything for you guys, but like it instead of it being like a very local and like a very personal thing, it expands into more of like this is impacting our town, right? Or this is impacting our country.
Well, with all the subway stuff, all of the whole reason why your main character got put away to begin with, it sounds like that guy was a powerful person, and that's why you ended up getting put away, was because he could put you away because that was his power that he had over
those are the
political
two
stuff.
Big arc things that stick with me. Mm-hmm. The story with the main character, and then the subway thing. Why do these incidents keep happening? And is it something from, the other world creeping into it, or the stakes are always a little bit higher with Persona anyway?
Right.
So it's nice to see that you have this individual objective that you're working on, and this sort of, I don't know, it's not like Mafia, but it kind of, like, you're just going from boss to boss to boss kind of a thing while working towards the main goal and wrapping into everything.
And Igor, right? Because he's telling you the entire time, like, you're doing this for a greater reason. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But
Igor's voice is great.
Unfortunately, that guy died.
Really?
The character actor?
Really?
The voice actor?
The voice actor? Oh.
I know. I was kind of bummed that he can't do a voice in future Persona games.
Yeah, he's great. He's awesome. Oh, that voice is great.
Yeah.
So a lot of the sound design, not just voice acting, but music and sound effects, it's on point, and it's very Eastern, but it's not too Eastern. I think you've played have you played all of the Personas, at least 3, 4, 5?
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5, okay. I think and this stigma goes away, but you've played RPGs for a long time.
Yeah.
Like even when you were a small kid.
Yeah, I played Final Fantasy 2 when I was like 10 years old.
There's always been a stigma. Well, the stigma about gaming is going away. So that is kind of, everybody plays video games. I don't care if you're the coolest person on the planet.
Everybody plays Candy Crush.
Whatever. Right. So
I don't, but like
that's gone away.
Yeah.
But the JRPG thing, there is still some legacy stuff there, where like there's Dude Bro that plays GTA, maybe a shooter, and sports games, and is like, what's this? Like
right.
There's some accessibility and some stylistic stuff that just isn't for everyone. But is 5 the most Western one so far, or have they all kind of been accessible for people that are in the United States?
They generally have a pretty good localization.
I should say North American gamers.
Yeah, but I think it's a hard question to answer, because 3 really, you have to take a bunch. You have to take some leaps as an American, because it takes place in the school, and the school structure is very different from what we have.
I'm in. No, I'm there. I am a Japanese kid.
Going to school on Saturday.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's in game development, and I was telling him, like, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I went and did this, and he's like, dude, the way you're talking about you doing this, like, we need to pull you out of this thing. I was like, no, man, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
So that's not a hard barrier.
That should be music to his ears if he's a developer.
Right.
He's not that. That's a different genre that he's in.
Yeah, but still, he should. The way that you talk about it, he should be excited that
it was a joke. Yeah, it was not serious.
But we're just talking about how people perceive it. My wife came down and was like, "So is this like a comic book game?" I mean, that was just kind of how she stylistically saw it. It was like, I think because different conversation things were popping up with your different options, and kind of saw like the the different conversation things at the bottom.
It's got that cutout style.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in this game, the menus, everything is just beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It looks awesome, and you can tell too that it was a PS3 game, and it doesn't even matter.
Right.
Like it doesn't. Well, okay. as I say that, and I haven't played because the NBA playoffs have been so good. I haven't been able to play any games, but it's choice because I've been watching those games. But the one area I think, and I think we talked about this a little bit, Caleb, the one maybe small criticism, it's not even a criticism really because it's where the game started in development, but I'm remembering this now, is in the dungeons, that stealth mechanic can be a little bit wacky.
Yeah, it can.
And you're snapping to cover, and it's not really for games in this era of gaming, games that are developed for these systems. You don't. A lot of that stuff has been cleaned up. You know, you don't get caught between cover and a guy. Really, there's some. I think there is some last gen feel in there.
But I think that would even be considered janky for that era too. I mean, you think of like how snappy like Gears of War and everything was when you snapped a cover and those.
I don't expect Gears of War from that. I'm not expecting it to be that good.
No, I just don't want
to get caught between not being able to see and then trying to ambush an enemy, because that's, I know we haven't talked about that, but that's super important. And so if it's not really responding to me going in and out of cover the way that I need it to, and I'm hitting X repeatedly and I'm bouncing in and out of it, and then I don't get the ambush that I'm going after because the controls are clunky, that's, with the stakes being so high and the way you save in dungeons, I think that's a little bit...
It's hard sometimes.
I would say there are areas too where like there's an area where you expect to be able to take cover and you just can't. But that happens maybe like one out of every like 20 times I have trouble with the cover system. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like for the majority of the time, I think I'm good with it. But yeah, when it does get wonky, it's frustrating because you're like, all right, now like instead of me ambushing, they get the first attack, and now I'm starting from I'm playing on easy and I'm already penalized like a crazy amount just because they got the first turn.
It's just the stakes are a little bit high for the system they have in place there, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And
if it was an even playing field going into it and not us being surrounded, you know, like and taking, what is it? I mean, they all get a turn before we do, right? If you get surrounded.
And depending on what they like,
or where you're at and how much, it's not MP, what's the magic or SP? How much SP you could be toward the end of your run in there, and if you're trying to go back somewhere and you get caught like on a wall or something, that's my only beef. That's the only criticism or bad thing I have to say about it.
Yeah, me too. That would probably be my only criticism too. Is, and then also that if your main character dies, you're just done.
Yeah,
like that sucks. Like any other character can die and you can revive them or at least move on, but
RPG's still mostly like that, Caleb?
No,
you can heal the main character.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
seems like a 90s era thing.
This is an old school legacy thing that they've attached to.
Okay, yeah. I was curious.
Especially when there's spells out there that the enemies have, like Mudo or Hama, where it's just a one-hit kill. It's a low percentage that it actually hits, but some enemies do have it. So it's like, if they happen to roll the dice on this and target the main character, and the dice roll is that, you know, it hits, then battle's over in one turn.
Man.
And,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could have lost.
I really don't like losing progress. Right. I think we're kind of behind that.
The good thing is, for bosses, if you died for a boss, it lets you restart the battle. So you can...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've seen that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I haven't died in a boss, but yeah, it was just, because for me it was, I can't remember what they are, but when they cast Marin Karen, which is what is...
Like charm or whatever?
That's what, I don't know, that's all I know what it is, but then it confuses your person, like...
Oh, the confused one?
The confused one, and then they start attacking. So they caused that on two of my teammates, and they both attacked the main character, and... just immediately went down. That was my last enemy before save, come to find out. So I lost about 40 minutes of stuff, and it's just like, I don't have 40 minutes anymore. Yeah. Like I was so pissed off. I was like, I thought about not even playing anymore. I was that pissed about it because I was just like, is this going to keep happening? And I'm playing on easy.
Right.
Like I'm not playing on the super easy, which I don't know what that.
Is there a super easy?
There is. It's, I don't know what they call it. Safety is what they call it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the difference is with safety.
I'm still on normal, but I will probably hit a wall like you guys have and been like, why am I here? What am I doing?
There's no trophy for it.
Right.
There's nothing. There's no reason to play that way, especially if you don't have a lot of time. Just mow through it. I mean, and it's still, I would say, still decently challenging in spots.
Yeah.
Like as you get through some things. I
don't want to grind.
I don't either.
Want to do that. So I had trouble with, I think, the second or third dungeon boss. So, and I was like, you know what? I'm just turning this down.
When you say not grind, I want to make sure that I'm understanding you. Does that mean that if I turn it down on easy, it just means that I do more damage and the game is obviously more lenient with me, but we're not talking about higher numbers of experience and stuff like that?
But I don't want to have to be like, I'm not leveled enough to take on this boss. So let me spend an extra day in the dungeon just so I can run around and kill stuff. I
don't want to do that either. And is that something that you would think normal expects of you?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But I got to a point. It was one of the bosses, and I was having trouble with it. And my options were I could go back and try to get more levels, or I could just turn on easy.
But even at that, if you finish a dungeon faster, you actually end up sometimes with extra days.
Yeah.
And then you can use those days to train.
Right.
Which is what I've done. Yeah. I've actually done the last couple of days because I had time in between my palace and when May 1st or whenever that was. I went and started doing some pull-ups in my bedroom, which is something you'll learn how to do.
I never do that stuff because I'm like so focused on the confidants. I really want to, like, as close as I can, max them all out.
See, I don't know if I can do all of that yet. I think I was at a spot where I couldn't just be like, oh, yep, I can call Ryuji.
In that case, if you can't do any confidants, then I concentrate on the social stats, the knowledge. What is it? Mm-hmm. Knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge, charm. So speaking of that, like every time I get like, it's like, oh, you increased a point. Like I'm not increasing anything. It's just like
yeah. So you have to increase a certain amount of those little music notes.
Yeah.
To get the next level.
It just doesn't. I feel like it doesn't show me that.
It doesn't. So eventually you'll get to the point where it'll be like, you increased your charm a bunch, and then it'll be like, oh, and it increased to this level. So now you're level 2 charm.
Because it's like I feel like I'm getting the knowledge ones all the time, and
the knowledge one is ridiculous. You need a lot to
move that one,
move it up,
move the bubble on that. Okay,
so we can wrap Persona here in a little bit, but I just have this conversation on here. I've been dying to ask you what you think the best way to play it is outside of the dungeon, and I ask because I don't know. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by all of the options.
Oh my god, there's
and I'm also a little bit terrified that it is paralysis by analysis a little bit, where when the option comes, like they're like, hey, let's go to the dungeon. I'm like, yeah, because I can handle that. I know what I'm doing in there, but I know I shouldn't do that all the time, and I'm supposed to develop dungeon benefits by doing stuff throughout the day, but I'm nervous that I'm going to concentrate on the wrong stuff.
So in Persona 4, it was very advantageous to wait up until the last possible day to do the dungeon.
Really?
This game is exactly the opposite of that.
Interesting.
It's super advantageous to do the dungeon as quickly as you can.
Because you still have the amount of days left.
Yeah, because you still have all those days to do whatever you want.
Okay.
And when you're in the middle of doing a dungeon, some of your confidants won't be available. Like your teammates, you can't go hang out with them because they're still worried about the dungeon. So if you get that dungeon off their plate, then you can hang out with them as much as you want, and they don't.
Yeah.
Until the story progresses to the next dungeon.
Yep. Yeah. Then you can go eat ramen with Ryuji.
Yep. Exactly.
That's how.
Guy loves ramen.
Yeah. I love Ryuji.
Yeah.
I love this game. It's good. It's great.
It's a really good game. Yeah. I like it a lot. Like, that's to say, that's a weird thing. I feel like I'm just like, oh yeah, it's like I feel like I'm done with it, which is weird. But I'm
not even close.
I haven't even started in all reality.
Well, it's the weird thing is like every character I'm like, well, with the exception of maybe one, but every character like you can romance in the game when you get a confidant up to level 10. If it's a female, you can date them. And I was like, Ann is awesome. I am going to romance Ann because she is awesome and I like her. And then so I did that, and then I got another character, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have romanced On, because now I'm stuck with her.
Can you break up with her and go with another one? Because I would start a whole thing. Okay.
So you can romance more than one as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. I've only heard rumors of what happens if you romance more than one, but I hear rumors that on a certain day that will come back to bite you if you romance more than one girl.
That certain day is Valentine's Day.
I believe so.
I don't care. He's being coy. I don't care.
It's got to be, because I mean, yeah, you started April, like, you got to go through that full cycle.
So you think you're a player the whole time, all hours and hours and hours into it, and then, like, you regret this decision you made, I don't know, 70 hours ago.
Well, and it also leads to weird stuff, too. Like, so my class went on a field trip, and on the last day of the field trip, it's supposed to be like a romantic, like, you're on a beach and there's a sunset. Who do you want to invite out with you? And I'm like, well, I should pick On, right? Because she's my quote-unquote girlfriend.
Right.
But then on the other hand, there were these other options there. And I'm like, if I invite them, will that make them like me more so that we could advance my confidant with them?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I got to balance, like, role-playing versus actual game value here. Which one do I do?
Am I a scumbag?
Yeah.
Or am I a scumbag?
And I was like, if I don't pick On, I'm going to feel bad. So I got to do this.
I can't go to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
I won't be able to sleep. Just, I'm sorry, On. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I think that it's cool that all three of us like Persona 5. I wasn't sure what to expect, much like you. Mm-hmm. I really like it. I think that it's rare that games, especially nowadays, that have this much content and this much gameplay to it, that are of this quality.
Yeah, I know, right? It's all quality. Like, some of the confidants have, like, awesome stories. I don't know if you guys have gone to the clinic yet and met the doctor.
I did once, yeah.
Her story is really awesome. It's like almost makes you teary at the end.
It sounds cool.
It's
just
crazy.
the beginning where you're like you're getting the drugs from her that you shouldn't have, and then there's the guy that comes to shake her down, and you're like, what's going on here?
Have you gone to see her a second time after that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I won't tell you what's going on there.
That ends up being like, there's a reason that she works by herself in the middle of nowhere, and there's a reason that she's kind of like a dick to everybody. There are reasons for everything there, and you learn that, and you're like, you feel really bad for her, and at the end of it, it all comes full circle.
Wow.
There's also like there's a teacher that will pop up in class and like ask you a question or whatever, but then also like at night there's a certain thing you can do, and I won't spoil it again. There's a certain thing you can do to see what her night job is and why she has a night job, and then like. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. It's awesome. There's a politician that's giving speeches at the train station.
I saw him once.
You should work on him. If you're interested in trying to max him out, you want him as number one priority, because you can only talk to him on Sundays to advance the thing, and there's only obviously so many Sundays. So, and his bonuses you get from him are really useful too.
All right. Well,
sorry.
That's fine. Yeah,
that was gushing, but
I think we're all at least a little bit gushing about this game at this point. So
I think it's really good.
Those are my favorite parts of the game, is the confidants and the stuff you do outside of the dungeons. The dungeons are there only to serve the point of there being gameplay, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so much good story wrapped around in all this.
Have there been games that have taken that leap that are just that? I feel like there's some experimental stuff that you'll see on like Steam.
Oh yeah, like you mean like no gameplay, just all story?
Yeah.
Like yeah. Some of my favorite games actually are like that, the Danganronpa games.
Oh yeah, okay.
There's a little bit of gameplay there, but it's almost all story.
All narrative.
Yeah, and then the same thing with the Zero Escape games.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
I would even say Telltale's. Most of theirs are really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little gameplay in those other than some walking around.
Yeah, that Telltale's probably the most mainstream example of that, I guess. You're playing Guardians, right?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We put together an agenda.
There's an
order.
agenda?
We have an agenda.
You guys are so organized.
I know. So, speaking of that agenda, let's take a break
and
we'll get into our next topic of E3 potential spoilers, or I don't know spoilers, but just predictions.
That's a tease. Hang in there, folks.
Something like that. All right, we're back, and Caleb has some E3 predictions for us. He's going to talk about how he's going to give these to us.
Let's play a little game.
All right, I'm in.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I'm going to say the name of a game, and I'm going to give it a percentage chance. My prediction, the percentage chance that it shows up at E3.
Okay.
Okay, and then you guys are going to do under over.
Oh, okay.
You're going to say no, that's definitely going to be there. That's over, or there's no way in hell that's under.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So these are alphabetical. We'll just go in alphabetical. All right.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Empire. And I'm going to give that a 70% chance of being at E3.
Above.
Yeah, I say over.
Well above. I think that's a 100%
over.
chance of being at E3.
Yeah.
On multiple stages.
Yeah. It's an easy presentation game.
Okay.
So
you guys are sold that it actually is coming out this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was nothing last year. It's got to come out
And I
this
think just a quick glance at Ubi's offerings in the fall, they need it.
So. You're right. I'm excited about that too.
I'm ready. I'm ready. You didn't play Syndicate,
No.
right?
And
it's
so
it's good. Like Syndicate's great. I understand that. What was
it has some problems.
Unity
but
was the one that was
Unity?
really bad.
I mean, Unity was not all sorts of things wrong with Unity, and it's well deserved of the criticism that it got. But Syndicate was cool.
Yeah,
it was good.
100% achievement and trophy guide on the channel.
Yes, on this channel
And
if
DLC.
you're looking for and the Jack the Ripper DLC as well.
I never played that. Is that good?
No.
No. Okay. All right, fair enough.
No.
Yeah,
I thought like the idea of Jack the Ripper in anything, I was like, this is gonna be fucking dope, and it's not.
No. So, what do you guys think about Egypt being the setting?
Should be some interesting parkour.
Sure, yeah, that's kind of like I'm assuming we'll go into some pyramids if we scale a Sphinx. Like, sure, yeah, I'm down with that.
I don't know. I don't want to knock it till I try it. I'm a fan of the way that they handle buildings in that game and the cityscapes.
Yeah.
And how, especially now that they have the horsepower to do it, especially in Syndicate, like finally this is like a living, breathing world that makes sense. It's not you're flying in and out of buildings in Syndicate for the first time, and it doesn't have that legacy video game thing of like, I see the shop and it's a low texture front. And like a low res texture, and I clearly can't go in here. Even GTA, it's like very select locations that are big and bright. Like it's very obvious you can go into those. In Syndicate, you're like weaving in and out of buildings, and like almost everything has a window, and it's cool. Like it really works. So getting away from that.
I'm excited to see what they can do with the 2-year cycle. This is the first time, right?
Yeah.
Well, except for maybe the very first one.
Yeah.
Don't know.
And new hardware, and the AC games, even Unity, had trouble, but it looked really nice. And I think they always look really nice. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see them like with the Pro and Scorpio and PC to see what this one looks like.
The next one, I'm going to give this one a 20% chance.
Ooh, I'm excited to hear this one.
Because this is like the rumor status so far.
Okay.
Batman Arkham Insurgency.
I say I think you're probably right. If you make me pick, I'd say under.
Under?
I'm going to go over.
You going to go over?
I think it's been...
Well, what's Rocksteady working?
That's what I'm saying. I guess I was about to ask, as Rocksteady do?
That's kind of my thought.
They haven't had anything since Arkham Knight, right?
No.
2 years? 3 years? 3 years?
It's been 2 years. It'll be 2 years. So, since the game was released, so that means that they've got to at least maybe have something to show. It may not release this year, but I think they'll show something, and even if it's a teaser.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that game would be because Arkham Knight ended pretty definitively.
They'll do a prequel of some sort.
Prequel, you think?
It could be anything. I mean, Batman is such a it's something that's been reborn so many times and redone that
But Rocksteady hasn't done that.
No, but I still think that
it'd be an interesting leap for them, is what I'm saying. If they reimagine that universe,
they could do an origin story.
Yeah.
Well, they had that
but
with
they
Origins.
did Origins, so
yeah, but it wasn't really origin.
I mean, I know what you're saying. Or if they did like just a night in Batman's life. Like I can get it on that.
Yeah,
with other characters that weave in and out of it. Like it's just there's a Arkham Knight had such a final feel to it.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if I'm ready to look. Those games are great, but like if it's the same approach and the same style of game.
Oh, I'm ready.
Are you?
Yeah.
You guys could play how many? So you guys could play those the way that I could play Assassin's Creed.
Give me a game with nothing but 2,000 Riddler trophies, and I would
do it.
Yeah, that's
hot damn. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the same way with Batman. I
might be done with those. Okay. Well,
the only like those little challenge things. Like I don't really care to do all those, but I want every Riddler trophy. I love anything Batman. I mean, I don't think there's been something Batman that I haven't participated in, at least at this point. I mean, I watch Gotham every week. I mean, I don't do the comics, but everything kind of that direction I participate in.
Okay. You got more games. Go.
This one, is this finally the year that we get Beyond Good and Evil 2? I'm going to give this one, I'm not confident. So I'm going to go 30% on this one.
Lower.
I'd say under 2.
Okay.
I'm just so...
This might just be a hopeful thing that I threw on here because, like, please, come on, we need this.
That's one of those, like, we're approaching, we're not quite Last Guardian with it, but, like, I'll believe it when I see it.
They put out that first trailer, like, 5 years ago?
Right.
6 years ago? Like, come on, guys. What's going on?
I'm not confident that it's even a thing.
Did you guys play the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never did.
I'm pissed too. Yep.
Okay, cool. 90% chance we see Crackdown.
Oh yeah, they have to have that out there. That is a Scorpio thing. Like that's over. Like I think just based on what I've seen on social media and stuff, that thing's coming.
What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised if they screwed up somehow and didn't show it.
They've been screwing up a little bit lately.
Lately? Like 3 years.
Yeah. They've had some problems with cancellations and
I would feel more confident if I had seen more than this wacky trailer that was idealistic for that universe, and it had no hint of gameplay in it whatsoever. Yeah. Then it doesn't really explain to you what that game is. It's just like this totally, I don't know. This I don't want to call it an arbitrary trailer, but like there wasn't really a whole. I mean, it was like a mini movie set in the Crackdown universe. So I'm gonna go under. I'm just I'm feeling pessimistic because I really am excited about that game, but also I could see him screwing it up.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to if they're going to try to make this the system seller for the Scorpio.
Seems like an odd horse to bet on.
Yeah, it kind of does, because the first Crackdown was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was popular mostly because Halo 3, it was a Halo 3, the demo?
It was a Halo 3 beta. And that is the only reason myself and several people I know bought it.
Yep.
Because we were real excited to play Halo 3. It was the first thing that everybody looked for, and it wasn't ready. It was on the main menu of Crackdown 3. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it wasn't ready to go like it was supposed to. And I know people that didn't play Crackdown like until they played the Halo beta. But for those of us that were like, I'm at the start menu.
Might as well press play.
Might as well check it out. And then boom, it was like the best superhero game that had come out yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't a superhero game in true to form, but like it was.
Yeah.
Like it's the best superhero game that had come out yet. You were all powerful and getting more powerful and collecting those orbs, man, jumping higher and higher, more and more weapons, more and more power. It was cool.
I just kind of hope that they didn't see the sales numbers on the original Crackdown and were like, look at how much that one sold. What if we do Crackdown 3?
I think they know that.
Yeah. Just FYI, Crackdown's official Twitter account said 5 days ago, it said 6 more Mondays until E3. Not that we're counting or anything.
Oh,
okay.
All right. Well, then I'm allowed to say over. Then
yeah. I was gonna say, I think that's gonna be there, and yeah, so I think that's gonna happen.
Okay.
10% chance. This is
Low.
Again me hoping that we see some Cyberpunk 2077.
I am in love with that game the way I'm in love with Persona 5, and I haven't played it. It's not even a real thing yet.
I don't think that's gonna be there.
Yeah,
Mostly just because they don't really have a spot for it, right? Like,
when was it original? That original trailer was on a stage, right, at E3?
What, the Cyberpunk?
Yeah, the Cyberpunk trailer.
It might have been. Oh gosh, when
It wasn't. It had to be a Sony or Microsoft stage.
I don't remember.
was there one? I don't even think there was one. I think
That trailer was on a stage, wasn't it?
I don't even think there was a trailer. I think they just
No,
said,
there is a trailer.
There's a teaser at least. I don't know if it's like
Yeah. I guess you can't really call it
Yeah.
a trailer, but the dude, I'm sure you've seen it. You just may not be remembering it. It's the android that's it's in still motion. And it zooms out, and there's police all over, and it's cool, but I don't think we'll see it.
I don't.
When did Witcher 3 launch?
2015.
And when did they
Right.
finish?
Yeah.
When did they finish Blood and Wine? The DLC.
early 2016.
Early 2016.
Yeah, I think so.
So that means they could have in earnest been working on it for maybe 2 years. Really, that's not
enough time
for
is it?
them.
You're right.
We're not going
Not
to see
for
this
something
game.
like
Maybe I would guess we see it maybe 2 E3s from now.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Probably a long ways away, unfortunately.
I'm gonna set this one at 50% just because I could see it going literally either way. Obviously, Death Stranding. You think it's gonna be there or not?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be there.
I think they'll still show something for it, but I don't think it's.
I give that the over.
Yeah, I think over. At the same time, you might see the first gameplay, but you're still looking at a 2018 release.
Yeah, I think that we'll see, especially now knowing what engine it's in and seeing a game delivered on that engine, Horizon.
Yeah,
right?
Horizon. Yeah,
I'm confident they can throw together something that may not even be representative of the original game, but they'll give somebody a cookie. I bet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's got to show up on the Sony stage, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
I think it.
Whereas would it show?
I would say.
Exclusive.
No, I'm just saying, now that I'm thinking about it, it has to show up
in a
there,
way,
right?
in some capacity. But I bet I'll go so far as to say you'll get a small gameplay demo, and I would put that at 85%.
Yeah,
I'm really confident. In
you
that.
think gameplay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether or not it's representative of the final product is one thing, but I think they'll give somebody
it'll get a God of War style trick,
something like that.
Yeah. It's gonna be something like that. It's not gonna be playable anywhere, but it's going to be. There'll be at least a 10-minute walkthrough of it.
I agree with that.
It's too big for them to not do something like that.
All right, I'm going to give The Evil Within 2 a 70% chance and that might be too high, but the rumor's been out there circling around way too much for this to not be true.
Who makes Evil Within 2?
Capcom? No.
Bethesda.
Bethesda does now?
Oh, yeah, since they have their own thing, I think it'll be there. It's just because they have their own stage show, it would make it anywhere else.
They're not going to have... Are they maybe going to show a new Elder Scrolls?
Oh, I wouldn't. Not yet.
Not yet?
No, that's... Especially because with Fallout 4, they did E3, they revealed it, and they launched it in November.
Oh, that's right.
And there's no way they can launch an Elder Scrolls game this November. It's too soon for that.
So I think you're probably closer to right on that than wrong.
So I think what else is Bethesda? Well, there's one more thing on the list that Bethesda might have here, but I'm trying to think, what are they even calling their own conference for? You know what I mean? If they don't have an Elder Scrolls game, they gotta have something, right?
That was the thought I had in my head when I said that out loud.
Yeah.
As if they're still doing their own thing. Are they still doing their own thing?
You know what? I'm going to look it up.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay. Go on, Caleb.
40% on Far Cry 5.
2 years since 4?
Yes. 3 years since 4, right? That was 2014?
Yeah.
That was December 2014.
I'm with you. I would even say the over. Yeah. Was it
15?
I think it was 15 because it was the Himalayan reveal, right? Like,
yeah.
And the elephants and stuff. I think that was 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, because it launched that fall.
It was like December. It was a weird release window for
It's
that.
always in December with the Far Cry's. It's weird.
But
Okay,
I'm ready for
I'm
another
with
one.
you. I'm not, but that's I understand that, especially because I'm starting to realize that might have been my problem with Horizon.
Bethesda will have the invitations have already went out, and the two rumors that are considered are Evil Within and a new Wolfenstein.
Oh,
Forgot that. Oh, sorry, is that on your list? I guess we're doing alphabetical order. Yeah, W would be at the
flip
end.
the table over.
Podcast over.
All right.
So
Carry
we
on.
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5. What was the percentage you gave
I
it?
gave it a 40.
I'm gonna say. I don't think it'll be a Far Cry 5. I think it'll be Far Cry : something. I think they'll stop the numbering process.
Oh.
But I think that we will get a new Far Cry, and I'm gonna go over.
Okay. Yeah, I guess they did have Primal. We forgot about Primal.
Primal was. I mean,
Primal felt like a half step to me.
Primal was a skin.
Yeah, because it was the Far Cry 4 map, right? That was...
Wait, was that early last year?
Was it really? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
they
crazy.
just reused the same map.
Did they sell that at $60?
Yeah.
60 ducks.
It was... I liked it. I thought it was a good game, but... And it wasn't
Whatever.
obvious
I'm not
that
gonna
it was
get
a-
on. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox.
It,
About
it really wasn't obvious that it was the same map. It took some digging for people to realize.
that. Okay. All right. As long as it's not, I didn't play that. So as long as it's not egregious, and you feel like you're playing the same game.
I'm ready for 5. Sounds like you are.
Far Cry?
Yeah.
I hate Far Cry.
Really?
I think it's a terrible game.
Really?
I hated it. I played about 5 hours of it, and I was like, "This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever played." And I got
I thought you liked that.
The shooting was piss poor, and the way you moved around, I thought it was just awful, and I just was like, "This is bad. I don't like it."
All right.
Logan literally railing against all critics.
Yeah.
But I love
That's
Persona.
okay.
It's a
Yeah.
98.
I'm going to give this one maybe like a 25% chance of seeing the Final Fantasy VII remake. Anything from that.
I'll go under.
I'm gonna go under as well. I did see something that their Square put out that there is going to be that will not release this year,
Right.
for sure. Like none of the episodes will release this year, so that would be I don't know if we. Maybe there's still a chance that we see something. Does Square have their own thing this year?
No, I don't think so.
If Square doesn't have anything this year, then it's definitely not going to happen.
Their thing last year was a disaster.
That's
It
right.
was weird.
It was weird's the word.
And at one point you could hear the translator fall asleep. I don't know if you guys...
I'd forgotten that.
Wow.
No.
I'm gonna say you might get like in the Sony press conference you might get like you might see a screenshot of it in a montage. That's about it.
Okay.
That thing seems like it's got Doom written on it.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it at all.
Let's go the other way with this 75% chance that we see Halo 6.
Oh yeah.
Are we due? Is this
This would be a Halo year.
this
I
is
think.
the every other? So this is a Halo year?
Yeah, this is still a teaser for 2017 though. This is a September October 2017
When did
game,
5
but I
launch?
think you get a teaser.
2015?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so, right? You think this year for Halo 6?
Not a release, but you will see something for Halo 6, and it will be very Master Chief focused. There will be no more lock stuff. I think they're going to go straight Master Chief, and
They need to. They need to go straight Master Chief, even if it doesn't make sense with the co-op story to have 4 Master Chiefs there. Just do it anyway.
It worked for years, and no one cared.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this one probably a 15% chance of Kingdom Hearts 3.
I say if the Square stuff is true, also that same Square release said there will be no Kingdom Hearts 3 this year.
Right.
I don't know why they've spent so much time on these remakes unless they're just that easy to do for other teams. But I mean, because you had 2.8 release in February, and now you've got the 1 and 2 remaster for it came out on Xbox One too.
I don't think
for
so.
the
I think
first
it's
time.
just PS4.
2.8 I think came out on PS4, but I thought Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 remake came out for both.
No, just PS4.
And 3 is going to be the first Xbox release,
Supposedly,
right?
I don't think it'll happen.
I wouldn't. These Squaresoft properties are just.
It's really hard to keep up with. Like, what does 2.8 mean? You know?
I think that I'm frustrated by that because I can't care about each individual tiny release or iteration of a thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm more frustrated with, I don't know. I really, like, childhood Jason, like, is so disappointed with where they're at and what they've done over time.
They've spread themselves so thin. The director of Kingdom Hearts 3 is also the director of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Are you serious?
Yes. Why would you put the same director over two major titles?
It's all of the stuff like that. It's all the mismanaged things like that. Yeah. Like the lack of direction, the lack of TLC to, full titled versions of things. I don't, like, if you're going to take Final Fantasy VII and you're going to remake it, you need to do it right. Mm-hmm. You need to spend years and almost every dollar you have on it, because that is what that version of Final Fantasy deserves.
Yeah.
It is the golden goose. There are other games people would say are as important, mm-hmm. but as far as JRPGs go, and especially mainstream ones, like, it is it's the standard. What are you doing?
I'm
You're gonna half-ass this and fuck it up, and it's gonna be a disaster for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is when it comes out, but I think it was a mistake for them to do it, because no matter what you do, it's going to be a failure.
Yeah,
it's an impossible task. You're gonna redo it to modernize it and then piss off the fans of the old game, or you're gonna reskin the old game and piss off people that don't play old games. So it's and with Square, that's their problem that they're running into right now, especially with Final Fantasy 15, is they tried to appeal to way too many demographics,
serve too many masters.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
The difference in everything involved with that game.
And then you get half-assed everything.
Yes,
you get lukewarm everything.
Not to mention when they do a project, they do a comics series or an animated series. They do, they have 2 1-hour live stream specials. They have to do. It's like, stop with, just focus on the game. The games are the things that got you in this place in the first place.
All the peripheral stuff doesn't matter,
and they need to stop and just focus and make something new instead of trying to go backwards. In my opinion,
I would say that if I could be positive for a second, I know we're spending a lot of time on Final Fantasy VII, but I've obviously got this on my mind, so we might as well talk about it. Is there a way that Final Fantasy VII, the original, poorly translated, the things that people love about that game, like you said, the two people that are gonna be the two audiences that are gonna be upset, like, no win. Is there a way that if this person is very loyal to that original version, could Square say, go play that one? If you love it, we understand you love it, go replay that one. We want you to go play it again. We just released it on your newest system or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then here's our new interpretation of that story. And we really, really tried to modernize it and really tried to make it make sense in 2022 or whenever it comes out. Is there a way for them to spin that where still at the core of it is Final Fantasy VII, but we really took the time to develop it for today? If you love that version, the old version, go play it.
I think that's possible. I don't think they're skilled enough to pull that off.
They're going to try to do both, mm-hmm. and they're going to screw it up.
And they're going to release both as the same package or something stupid, and like, it's going to, it would be a disaster. I've lost all my faith in Square Enix, and everything, like, if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, they would have been my favorite gaming company, and they have just squandered it.
We have reached the same conclusion. We just reached them at different times. And I think maybe it's just because we consumed them at different times. Yeah. I reached that conclusion several years ago.
You did that for 13.
You're there. Yeah, for 13 was it, because I thought Final Fantasy 13 was going to be maybe the best game ever made.
Yeah.
Like, I was oblivious hype train guy for it. Mm-hmm. and it did not live up to that franchise's legacy the way it should have.
I think it's an underrated game, but I agree it didn't live up to some of the other ones.
Okay, sorry, I know we went way off.
Way off.
Sorry.
Tangent. No, it's fine.
This one, I don't. This is just another rumor, so I'll give it a 15% chance that we see an open world Splinter Cell game.
Are we due for a Splinter Cell?
It hasn't
When
been
was
one.
the last Splinter Cell?
So I'd say if anything puts that in favor is that we're due for some Sam Fisher to come back. What else are they doing?
I think they're.
Are they done?
I think it's done. I think they ran Sam Fisher into the ground. I don't think he comes back.
Solid Sam.
Yeah. I didn't like Blacklist, so
I would say that I see on your list you say open world Splinter Cell.
Yeah,
that's part of the rumor.
Is part of the rumor.
I could get into that. I'm probably the target for that. If you dropped Sam Fisher into the Middle East and gave him Solid Snake's running grounds, for lack of a better, or wait, whatever snake. What snake was that in 5? Was it?
Wait, what? Sorry, I lost.
Which snake? Sorry, I mislabeled snakes.
Well,
the snake from 5.
Just say Snake.
Yeah,
just say
Snake.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
It was called like
I forgot his code name.
We also don't want to put any spoilers out here. So.
Okay. Well, so yeah, that's spoiler territory. Yeah. But if they did that with Sam Fisher and they did it like modern day, I could do that. Like Sam collecting intel, different contacts, stealthing in and out of places, rescuing prisoners. I could do that with some Sam Fisher. Yeah. I think there's something to that. I'd be excited for it.
All right, it wasn't Snake, it was just V, but whatever.
V, right.
Will the new Pokemon game, which is rumored to be Pokemon Stars as the name, will that be out on Switch or 3DS? This is not an under-over. I'm giving you guys, will it be a 3DS game or a Switch game?
I think they're dumb enough that it'll be a 3DS game.
It would make business sense for it to be a Switch game, but I could see that too. I don't understand anything Nintendo does.
Or what it could be is it could be a 3DS game that is also downloadable on the Switch. Not a proper cartridge, but like I could see it being like a downloadable thing. Because that's a weird thing.
That's a thing on Switch.
When the 3DS came out, it came out in like I think February or March of that year, and the Pokemon that fall was still on DS. That was black and white, I think.
Okay.
So that leads me to think it'll be a 3DS game.
Okay.
But I don't know.
It could have. I mean, it could be way far into development and was destined for the 3DS forever
Wasn't
ago.
there a Pokemon game last year?
There's a Pokemon game every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how much I don't care about Pokemon.
75% chance of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, above and beyond.
I think it's 100% lock on the Sony stage.
Sony, you think? That was my next question.
Sony.
I don't know which stage it's going to be on. You think it's 100% on Sony stage?
And the reason why
they've always kind of gone that way.
Well, not traditionally. The Rockstar is smart enough to embrace the leader. They've always been that way. So there were way more PS2s in homes than any other console. So that's why 3, Vice City, and San Andreas were exclusively on PS2 to start with, because the install base was there. It would have made sense for them to jump ship to the Xbox because of performance, but they didn't, because that's where the gamers were at the time. And so here we are. The install base is bigger for the PS4. They also have that, before that commercial, they have the PS4 bumps. What was that, the finals? The NBA finals? So they had the PS4 bump before that. The relationship is already in ink there. It'll be on Sony stage.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was on Microsoft, just because Microsoft's trying to catch up and they don't have a lot of exclusives. So I can see them throwing a lot of money to Rockstar.
They could throw a lot of money at them, but like I said, I
think the deal might be done. Is what I'm saying.
Even when 360 was in its heyday, it never went on a GTA 4, GTA 5. Red Dead 1 didn't go to a Microsoft stage.
They didn't. I don't remember.
I think it was all on a PlayStation stage.
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, because 360 had the lead in that time frame.
Right. I don't remember. But it also came out on both.
It did, but I you know what? Did it even go to a stage?
I don't think so.
I don't think anything went to a stage. So I wouldn't.
Rockstar traditionally doesn't do much E3, do they?
Agent. Last time I saw them.
Yeah. So, and we all know where that ended up. So actually, maybe it doesn't even come to a stage.
I think it does, and I think it comes to the Sony stage.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Another Sony project. I'm going to give a 60% chance to Spider-Man.
I bet we see. I'm
100%.
higher on
You
that.
think?
I'm not 100. But
I'm
I'm
100%. The movie's coming out this year. They got to ride that hype train.
That's a good point.
Makes business sense.
Yeah.
I would say like 85. That game looks cool too, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I haven't seen a lot,
There's
but it looks
nothing
cool.
really out there, is there?
It's just the little snippets from E3
and you're not
last
sure
year.
what
And it looked neat.
it looked neat, but it was a gameplay or was it just a and?
It looked bad enough to be gameplay, and I don't mean that to
But it
sound
also
negatively.
but it also looked good enough to not.
You
be.
think?
There was a lot of me that was like, I don't think we're there yet.
Looked like some aliasing and some edges and stuff that you wouldn't see in an F&B, but I don't
It's
know.
also a movie game.
I wrote down Super Smash Brothers Switch, but none of the three of us give any shits about that, so let's just skip that one.
Okay. I also am going to say no, because I think Nintendo does not know their audience well enough.
Okay.
They just don't think about these things when they're trying to make an install base. Obviously, it shows by when they launch with one game.
Let's give a 30% chance to a new Tomb Raider.
I believe that is already in the works, right?
I don't know. Is it?
I thought.
I don't know.
So the last one was Microsoft exclusive.
Well,
Actually-
exclusive.
Timed, right?
Well, you know what? Because isn't Crystal D working on that new Avengers game?
I'm not sure.
Now, I don't know if Crystal D has multiple studios. Or
Was Crystal D a subsidiary of Square?
Crystal D is Square
Yeah.
Enix, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they get published by Square Enix. I don't know.
I
Right.
said Squaresoft earlier. It's not been Squaresoft for years.
Yeah.
Square.
I thought there was one coming, but now that I think about what Crystal D is doing with Avengers, it has been 2 years. What would you give that?
I gave it a 30.
I'm gonna go over.
Over.
I think over. I'm 50-50 on that one though.
Okay.
Over.
I would
30.
give it about 50
Yeah.
for the 50-50.
Okay.
I would say I would be very not surprised to see it, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't there. So.
I don't think you get the timed exclusivity like you had last time though.
Okay. Last one on the list that you already mentioned, Wolfenstein, and I think that one's like a 75% chance.
Seems like a lock after we talked about it.
I think there was even question last year that it should have been on there. So yeah, I think that is a. I think that's a lock.
You think they do Doom Wolfenstein every other from here on out?
Oh,
I don't know if it goes every other, but I think there's probably a 3-year cycle of those.
Okay.
I'd say 3-year cycle, not a full 2.
That's my list. What if one thing, if you could magically make one thing appear at E3, what would it be?
the Horror of the Orient.
The Horror of the Orient. Okay.
I
You said magical.
Yeah. Sure.
magical.
I want to know the story behind that. I want to know what it was and why it got canceled. Oh, I know why it got canceled, but because of the Team Bondi scandal, for lack of a better description. Fuck, man, I that one little ad for it, I was like, this is gonna be awesome.
And then yeah,
Gone.
that's a weird thing. I would like. I guess my real wish is that Kingdom Hearts would actually come out this year, but I'd like to see something from Irrational.
Okay. What from Irrational?
I don't know.
Like a new project? New IP?
I mean, obviously, I'd like. I think I would still like something in the BioShock universe. I just don't know if that's gonna ever happen again. But when I say Irrational, actually, Irrational is no longer Irrational.
Yeah.
They are now. What are they called now?
It's still Levine Studio, right?
It's still
just much
Levine
smaller.
Studio, but it's called.
It's called something else.
What is that called? I'm trying to think of what that's. Irrational.
Do you guys have news you want to talk about real quick before we're done?
There's been not a damn thing in news.
I have one thing I want to talk to you guys about.
Yes.
While you're looking around. Why did
before you do that, I'm just going to say Bully 2 would be mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
didn't.
fine.
Yeah. Is that a thing? A possible thing?
I don't know. I hope so.
God, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, when you
That'd
say
be cool.
Bully 2, do you mean like you want the same characters, or do you want like?
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole-
Oh, you want
I want-
the progression of that story, or I thought maybe you would want like an individual bully from, because they could make that work
Yeah,
too.
that
Make
could be cool.
it an anthology.
What would be really cool, and you guys might disagree with me, but if they made a Harry Potter bully game, like a crossover there,
I don't know enough
cool.
about Harry Potter.
That'd be cool. Like if you played bully in Hogwarts, that'd be cool.
All right. I butterbeer, that's a thing, right? I've heard of that.
I'm not that big of a fan of Harry Potter. I just think it's pretty cool.
I saw the other day that, and I am, Caleb, you're really the only Nintendo customer at this table. But I saw the other day that the NES Classic was canceled.
Yeah.
What the hell? Why?
What I think is they're going to have these be limited runs, and then every few years bring them back. So in 5 years, hey, we're bringing back the NES Classic for this holiday only. Grab one while you can, and keep doing that.
And
but are they going to change the assortment?
It creates demand issues, so this way people can have that Christmas item that's rare and it's dumb.
I really hate that.
But that's Nintendo.
I hate that so much.
That's what
Disney does. Hold that against them. That's part of my evaluation of them as a company.
Disney does the exact same thing, though.
But they've been getting
I'm not a Disney company either.
But
I'm not a Disney customer.
The way Disney's done things, though, has been kind of like, oh, here we've got this movie. It's gonna be out for a while, and then essentially they put it away due to lack of demand. It's not that they.
I don't think that's true.
I mean, if you've got let's just put this out there. Like, all right, Toy Story.
Right.
Like, all right, if you like Toy Story when it first came out, like, yeah, it's hot. They put it out on DVD and everything else. They're gonna leave it on shelves for a year.
Right.
And then it just kind of magically disappears. But then what they do is when they re-release them, they say it's going to go back into the vault. But they still put out a good amount of those. It's not like you're going into a store and you're like, oh my God, I got to get to this thing. Like, it's going to be at a Target for a solid 6 months.
Yeah.
Because
keep talking.
I mean, that's what I guess I'm saying is it's not the scarcity of like, oh yeah, GameStop's only going to get 3 of them. Best Buy's going to get 5 of them, and you got to go and wait in line for these things. Like, no, these are DVDs. They're easy to manufacture. They're just going to. It's just not something that they're going to make multiple prints of over and over and over again because it makes more sense from a supply chain standpoint for them to make like, all right, we're going to make 20,000 of these. We're going to send them out. That's all we're going to put out there, and then we're going to go to another movie and we're going to release 20,000 of that and send it out. And
I in a way, I'm kind of glad that they canceled the NES Classic because I was getting kind of tired of the will it or will it in stock thing. And at this point, I don't even want one anymore. I've realized that like when they first announced it, I kind of wanted one, but over time, I've realized that like I would go back and play some of those games for like 5 minutes and then just be like, whatever. I have Persona sitting here. Why am I not playing this? I have this. You know
my
what I mean?
thought too. Like I've already got the games I really wanted, and I have a Retron for that reason.
Right.
So of that collection that came out of stuff, like I think the only one I don't own that it would be nice to have is Mario Brothers 3, and that's not hard to find. And I can go to any used game store and buy that, or go on eBay and buy it for $10-15 if I really want it. Yeah. And so why spend $50 to have this cute little box? And when I already have something there that does that, and I can run a cheat engine type thing off of it if I really want to. On
everything that you guys are talking about is pretty sophisticated for the normal consumer, and so. There were people. I think there's always going to be a market for this thing. If
I don't disagree. Yeah,
for people that aren't gamers,
and it's all nostalgia. Like that's all this is.
Right?
Remember that thing from your childhood? You want to do it again?
I think that's a dumb business decision to not fulfill a need unless they were like super low margin. I mean, if it's a 75% margin item for Nintendo.
They own all those things. For them to put those games on there, it's nothing to them.
I'm not going to pretend like I know the business reasons for it, or like that I know Nintendo's business, but I do know that they were a toy company first, and they've been around for over 100 years.
Yeah, that's true. So
maybe they do know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, that's fair. I guess if their business model is to drum up demand for a thing you can't have, I think that's shit. I think that's poor. That's all. And if that works, good on you. But that, me as like an informed consumer, that frustrates me. It pisses me off, and it makes me not like you very much. That's all. Mario was a Target ball.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Did
you see that? Mario's
a
Target ball.
Oh, that's kind of funny. Yeah.
It's actually really cool. They put on their carts.
There's Luigi on the other side.
Yeah, that's funny.
On the carts, did you see a cart at all?
Carry on.
They put the things on the side of the cart, so it's Mario Kart. And if I saw correctly, when you start pushing it, it plays the Mario Kart theme.
Yep, it was broken, but it tried to play the Mario Kart.
This was at our Target.
Yeah,
it's at every Target apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting little marketing push for Nintendo since we were talking about Nintendo.
Well, yeah, and the remake of Mario Kart 8 just came out on Switch. So that's
right. Yeah,
and I think they're in Happy Meals right now.
Are they?
Yeah, well, because my daughter got a Happy Meal and she was like, she got a.
Who the hell's this, Dad?
She did. She was like, "Who's this?" She got a Mario and she's like, "What the hell is this thing?" Like, and she had no idea. And then later on, there was a commercial for Mario Kart on. And she's like, "That's that thing that I got in the Happy Meal." I'm like, yeah, like it's a new video game. It's like, but when you don't have a Nintendo, like, and
if Persona wasn't so long, I think I would be considering a Switch and Zelda. But Persona's, I already talked about how much I like Persona, so I think that's where I'm going to spend my time. But if Persona hadn't caught me the way it caught me, I would be seriously considering Zelda.
All right, we have 2 minutes left. I'm going to do a very quick speed run on stuff.
Okay, I've got like just a hair more.
Oh, okay.
So we can maybe, if were you going through E3 stuff still? Or
nope, we're done with E3.
Okay.
I just wanted to briefly mention stuff I've been playing.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
I just finished the true ending of Nier Automata, and that game is incredible. That's one of the best stories of all time in any game. Love it.
Wow. That's high praise.
The gameplay itself, I could take or leave. Like, that's not really my thing. I know you really like
Which
the
is what I
gameplay.
think is really impressive about it.
Have you finished Nier?
So, without going into
No, he did not.
Yeah, without going into too much,
Have you finished ending 1?
I think there's 3.5, 4 playthroughs.
It's not really playthroughs, more like extra chapters.
Okay.
But you did ending A, and the true ending is ending E.
Proper run 1.
Yeah.
I'd say that's at least something.
You did probably about a third of the game.
I know at least was the premise of the universe and the things that Caleb had we talked about that expounded past that. Like, you get a good idea of what's going on, and so I think I've seen. Obviously, I can't speak to how the level he's talking to it about it, but it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
How many hours did that take you to get through the first one?
Man, I want to say it was like 8.
Okay, so like, and
you can fly through too.
So like,
I
how
tried.
many hours did you spend?
I really tried. Do you know what you're
22, something
22?
like that.
So
but
not
I did a
terrible.
lot of side quests too, which you don't have to do.
Okay.
And there's also,
maybe
if you
18.
put it on easy mode and you keep the auto skills equipped, you don't even have to do combat.
It'll play it for you.
Press one button and it'll do combat for you.
And looking at it is really pretty.
Yeah.
Like watching the combos pull off, it's like, holy shit, that's crazy. Like, it looks awesome.
I guess since the last podcast, we both finished Horizon.
Yeah, I think
say about that?
I just went back through our podcast that we did that last time because we were trying to figure out where we were in Horizon, and we were actually at like I was at 25% and he was at 30%. But yeah, we both finished it. I liked it a lot. I will say that that second half of that game is a lot better than the first half of that game.
Yeah.
It is.
Agreed.
It's so much better. The combat is so much more rewarding. The story is really good. It's a really good game, and I would hope that maybe you can decide at some point to get past the part that you're in, and as you shake your head, to do it. But I think it's gorgeous.
I traded it. I don't trade games.
You traded it?
I don't trade games. I traded it. I don't like it.
Wow. All right, that's fair. I mean, as I say, everybody's got their own taste on things, but
I wish I did.
Yeah,
because I'm not seeing what everyone else is seeing. So, and maybe I'm just not far enough.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, and then when I was even say like spoil it, like I feel like it's like a 20-minute conversation to even get to where we would spoil it for you because there's so much stuff with.
It's that interesting, at least.
It's interesting. After playing some other stuff, especially Nier, I don't know if I really. The story is good. It's not great, in my opinion.
Of Nier or Horizon?
No, of Horizon.
Oh no, it's
just
good.
In comparison.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, is it the best story I've ever played? No. Is it better than most? Yeah, I will say that, but it's definitely not. It's not like a top 10% by any means, but it's an above average story with some pretty good gameplay.
Okay. I think since the last podcast I finished Zelda, and
we talked about that.
Zelda's been talked about way too much, especially
everywhere.
Everywhere's talking about it. So it's an awesome game. Go play it if you haven't. I also played through Mass Effect Andromeda this last time.
Oh yeah,
that game is better than you would think by hearing the
better than it gets credit for.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad game. It's got some rough edges, but it's not a bad game. I enjoyed it.
I want real quick. Just I know Logan's running out of time. Real quick, I think Mass Effect deserves more than what it was given. It's not Final. Earlier we were talking about Final Fantasy, but I think Mass Effect is a special thing and should be handled with care, and it was not.
It was handled with fiscal year.
Right. I understand why. I'm really disappointed that it wasn't more important for them to say we have to delay this. We may even have to let half of you go, but we've got to make this worthy of the Mass Effect name, and it's not worth it.
And I don't know
it's
why.
Not worthy of it.
I mean, there's a numbers game to play with your fiscal year end reports, but there's also a thing that you can put in there and say, well, you know what, our projections for next year are this now. And you can play that game too when you're talking to investors and the stock market. I mean, you might take a hit in the short term, but how much is a short-term loss versus a long-term gain worth? And I'm not an economist by any means, but I would venture to say that if you were to take that game 60 days out, you could have made a ton of improvements and you wouldn't have gotten the bad press that it got, and you could have increased your sales by that much more.
It did sell a ton.
I'm sure it sold a ton just based on its name.
So that decision is probably, in their mind, probably made the right one.
They're looking at pre-orders, probably, and don't pre-order games.
I know a lot of people that played it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that played it, and we all say, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I hold Mass Effect. I feel like I hold Mass Effect in higher regard than EA does.
It might not be a bad idea to see where that game is like a year from now, because it seems like they are pretty good about the patches.
So, okay.
Yeah, but if they patch it, they're going to sell it at $30 and $40 versus selling it at $60, and that's where
there's a little bit of ROI going on there,
right? And that's where I guess I'm saying is, if you could have pushed it back 60 days, yes, your pre-orders were at this, but your word of mouth of people going and buying it the second week, third week, fourth week, that dropped off dramatically, and it had to for them, because that just did not have as good of, when you got people saying meh, not people going out and saying it's great, you should play this.
Okay, Caleb, sorry, go ahead.
I just last night I got the last Pagey in Yooka-Laylee and finished that. So I did 100% of Yooka-Laylee. That game I like. I think the good outweighs the bad in that game, but the camera's got issues, and like maybe 10% of the pages are ridiculous to get. But overall, I liked it. I don't think unless you're starved for that genre like I was, I don't think I'd recommend it. But
I didn't like any of the Banjo games to begin with, so I knew it wasn't for me.
But if you're like me and you're like, come on, can we just get Banjo 3 already? Then this is
Banjo 3. Banjo 3 reskinned.
It's not. When you talk about Banjo, you have to think about the time it was, developed and all that too. But it's so for the time, this isn't a great game. Like for a current game, it's not that great, but I still enjoyed it. And then the last thing I just wanted to say was I did Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 1, and that's just okay. It's not
okay.
It's okay.
I may wait and see if how the rest of that story plays out before I decide to buy it. I did the same with Batman, and I liked the Batman one a lot, and not a lot of people did. But again, like I said earlier, I am that Batman guy, so I like Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Other stuff that I played, I did Hitman. I did.
Right. Did you finish Hitman?
Yeah, I did all of Hitman. I liked it. There was a couple parts that got a little, I felt like just kind of glitchy on me and just annoyed the piss out of me. So I can't remember which one that was. It was the Middle Eastern one. Marrakesh, maybe?
Yeah, Marrakesh.
Marrakesh got, and then after that, I started having a lot more fun with it. Colorado was just kind of I didn't really care for Colorado that much, but I did like Hokkaido. I like doing that one. There was a lot of dumb ways to
Colorado kind of sucked because it was like no matter where you went, there were people that were suspicious of you. Yeah,
that was the problem. Like I felt like that was much more stealth versus the dumb Hitman stuff. There was an interesting way to kill somebody in that one with like this weird battering ram thing that I did enjoy in Colorado. But otherwise I felt like I was just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
And then, but Hokkaido, like I went and this guy was supposed to get a heart transplant and I distracted everybody so that I could get in and get the heart. Yep. And then I just took the heart that he was supposed to get as a transplant and threw it in the trash can.
Yeah,
just leaves like a blood trail on the wall. He just throws it up against
the wall. And just slides down. That was a lot of fun. And then I killed this other the
sense of humor of that game is probably its strongest feature.
Yeah, and the other thing that I liked with that is I also killed somebody else. There was like another like lead operative or something on Hokkaido, and I killed her in a sauna. I threw her inside of a sauna and locked it and turned the heat up as high as possible, and she just died. You watched her in there like just like banging on the window trying to get out.
Awesome.
And I think I replaced her e-cigarette with like some poison or something. And she would have a smoke and died. I think that's what I did.
And did you let the opportunities present themselves to kind of walk you through these things?
That was kind of.
I really think that's an excellent addition.
Yeah.
And why so many people have broken through the Hitman barrier this time around, because it'll let you know and it'll let you kind of work through it.
I killed a guy with a moose. I dropped a moose on a guy's head. Awesome. Like he was just sitting there, and I cut a cable and did that. I also killed a guy with like in a massage session. Like I killed somebody. I killed a masseuse, or I didn't kill. I guess I capacitated a masseuse, dressed up like him, and then gave a guy a massage. And while he was getting a massage, I choked him out on the massage table and just walked out.
I didn't finish it like you both have now, but the stuff when I see something hilarious come across like my internet of the day, and it's Hitman kill like this, like I'm always like, that's funny.
So, I don't have much time, Jason. You got 1 minute of anything else you played?
I don't think that I've played anything that you guys haven't.
1 more minute of Persona talk. Here we go.
Persona Horizon was the last thing I played before that. There's something I would really like to check out. I'm blanking on it.
The Sexy Brutale.
The Sexy Brutale. Yeah. Have you played that?
No, but I remember you saying you really wanted to.
I want to play that. I think that looks cool. Something about the aesthetic and going from like Chamber of Murder to Chamber of Murder is like something that I'm really into, but they look like these cutesy little design people. It's not like, have you seen these screenshots?
I've not.
It's almost like Sockboy-esque, but not like they've got more creative design behind them, but these aren't like normal anatomy people. Like it's not like rendered like a normal person. It's got a very specific look to it, but you basically go from room to room trying to keep them from getting murdered.
Nice.
And so you got to stop the murder simulation somehow, solve the puzzle, save their life, and move on. Yeah.
So I think that wraps it up for today. Maybe next month we'll talk some Sexy Brutale. Maybe we'll probably talk some more Persona 5. That's almost a guarantee.
That's what I'm looking at.
Prey
will
and Injustice 2, I think might.
When does that come out?
Sometime in May. It might be late May, so that might be
May 16th. I have.
You know what? We'll try to get some of that.
I'm probably fighting game guy most
I like that. I played Injustice. I played the first one and I really liked it. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
I also want to check out The Surge, which is
what's that?
A Dark Souls-like game.
Oh.
It's the same people that did Lords of the Fallen.
See if maybe where you thought Neo kind of came up short. Maybe that'll scratch that itch for you.
Okay.
Also, Rhyme comes out, but that's end of May. So
I don't know what Rhyme is either.
We may not get to that. So we'll maybe talk about that as a coming up we'll play.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks for checking this out. We'll try to keep this monthly thing going. Maybe. Hopefully. All right. See ya.
See you guys.